All right, in the previous passage, Caesar was talking about some of the sacrifices which the Druids and the Gauls more generally perform. Here he continues to talk about the practice of sacrifice, in particular, a very specific form of human sacrifice. So here you see that he tells you that alii, here you can either go with some or others, alii habent simulacra, and here the phrase imani magnitudine is used as an ablative of characteristic or description. In English, it's often easiest to translate these as of blah 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 rather than with blah blah blah. You might remember this with some of the phrases like summa honore from passages earlier in the book. Note the use of the I in the ablative singular of the third declension adjectives. All right. So they habent simulacra imani magnitudine, and then the quorum here is going to refer back to the simulacra. All right, so this is going to describe a characteristic of the simulacra. Quorum, so whose membra are described as contexta viminibus. Right, so you need to take contexta and membra together. These two words modify each other, and then contexta is a perfect passive participle, and it's going to be modified by viminibus. So they're contexta with viminibus, and what they do with that is they complement the membra contexta with vivis hominibus. Okay. This phrase right here, quibus sucensis, is going to be an ablative absolute. So I'll leave that for you guys to translate, and I can actually see what you do with it. So quibus sucensis, circumventi flamo ex animantur homines. Homines here are described as circumventi, all right? So you want to take circumventi and homines together, and they're described as circumventi with a flamma, here an ablative of instrument or cause, and they are ex animantur. Note here in this verbal idea of ex animantur, you actually have the noun for the word breath, right? So they're deprived of their breath, that is, they're killed. Okay. So note right here, supplicia eorum, so the punishments of those qui in furto aut in latricinio aut aliqua noxia sint comprehensi. Note right here that you have a subjunctive form of the verb esse, and the reason for this is that if you look at the main structure of the sentence, it doesn't have to do with supplicia. This is a part of a large indirect statement. So if you look down here, your main verb is arbitrantur. So they think, and then you're going to have accusative infinitive statement after this. They think supplicia, that the punishments eorum, blah 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 blah, are gratiora dis immortalibus. Right? So arbitrantur supplicia gratiora dis immortalibus esse. That's your main sentence. Okay. So sorry for the break. I went ahead and highlighted the parts of the sentence which constitute the main sentence. All right. And then the eorum qui, note that this all forms a relative clause. So qui in furto aut in latrocinio aut aliqua noxia sint comprehensi. Right? Now I told you that sint was used for a particular reason, and this is because if you have an indirect statement, if you have a verb of saying, thinking, or perceiving, and then it creates an indirect statement, and then you have a relative clause within that indirect statement, the main verb of the relative clause is going to be in the subjunctive, right? So you can't say qui sunt, you need to change the verb into the subjunctive. So qui sint comprehensi in furto aut in latrocinio aut aliqua noxia. Right, so here you want to supply something like in aliqua noxia, right? And then said cum eius generis copia defecit. So here the eius generis is going to this phrase of that sort or of that type is going to refer to the people who are either found or caught in furto, out in latrocinio. Trying to draw these arrows frustrate out in aliqua noxia. So when a copia eius generis, that is of these kinds of people, defecit, then etiam they even descendunt ad innocentium supplicia. So ad the supplicia innocentium. Here's the genitive plural modifying the supplicia. Note the repetition of supplicia here and there. So file that lexical item away.